Hi students, welcome to our science class. Our chapter name is Light and Shadow. In the last class, we started this chapter and discussed some of the things about light. And we discussed about the definition of light. It is a type of energy which gives sensation to our eyes. That is what light. And the second thing we discussed about the sources of light. Where we get light, where the light is produced. Those things we discussed in this region, sources of light, and after that we discussed about the classification of objects. Actually, objects are classified into two. One is luminous objects and non-luminous object. Luminous object and non-luminous object. So, these are the things we discussed in the last class and also studied the example for these, some examples for sources of light and all we discussed in last class. And now we are going to study the next topic, and that is the characteristics of light. What is meant by these characteristics? We normally use this term characteristics. So, characteristics means behavior of light. Behavior of light. So, we are going to study the characteristics of light. That means how this light is behaving. Within your class, within your level, you only want to study two characteristics of light. This is not only the characteristic of light, you will study this in your higher classes, the further characteristics. So, the first thing is this light travels in, something is the, I will fill. Before that, we are going to fill this using one activity, one simple activity. For the activity, we need one tube. I just made one paper into a tube. And next, I just want one candle. This is one burnt candle. And our experimental setup is this. I just want to look this light through this tube. That is my procedure. So, this is one straight tube and I am looking through this tube. And is it possible to see this light through this? Yes, of course. That means when I look through this tube, this straight tube, is it possible to see the light? Yes, of course you can see. That means when I look through this tube from this side, we can see the light travels like this. And so we can see the light of this candle. Now, in the second setup, I am going to bend this. That means when this is a rubber tube or something, when I twist this or when I bend this, is it possible to see this light? That is my question. That means I am going to bend this pipe. That means I just want to look through here. Now, is it possible to see? What do you think? That means when I bend this and look through this paper, is it possible to see this candle light? Actually, I am not seeing. The reason is this, my paper is bending. So, when the light travels like this, it hit here. The light hit on the surface of our tube and it do not reach our eye. So, why our light is not bending? The reason is this, one of the characteristics of our light is this, light travels in straight line. That is one of the characteristics of light. So it is very simple that when my tube is straight, my light travels straight, and from this point the light will transfer to this point. But when my tube is bent, what happens? The light travels in straight line. When my eye is here, it's not possible to see. That's why we can say our light travels in straight line. In whatever cases, always our light travels only in straight line. That is one of the characteristics of light. So, here, not of studying the activity or nothing, you just want to understand that and you just want to study the characteristics. This statement, light travels in straight line. Only want to study this statement. Now, we are moving to the second property, that means second characteristics of light. That is one surface. Suppose this is one mirror. I am just putting one torch here and giving light to this mirror. What happens? What will happen here? It will move in another direction like this. So, do this one characteristics of the light? Yes, we can say it like that. Actually, this is also one characteristic. So, behavior of light. That is, I am going to call this process called reflection. Reflection. So, the thing is very simple. When light transmits or when light hits on a surface, that is getting reflected. That means the direction is getting changed. Or here you can see I just gave the light like this. Suppose I am giving light in another direction. What will happen? That is, for example, here I am giving light from this direction. That means straight. I am giving light straight. This light is having a particular name, incident ray. This light is having another name, reflected ray. That you all study in your higher classes. No need of thinking of that. And when we are giving light in straight line, what happens? This is also straight line, but it is having a particular angle. We are just giving it bent. Here we are giving it in straight angle, and so what happens? This will go back in the same line. This will go back in the same line. That means we can compare the property of the light with the property of the ball. When I am just taking one ball and giving it to the wall, what happens? That will bounce back. When we are giving ball, it will bounce back. Move backward. That means when we are throwing the ball in this direction, it will move backward. In the similar way, we can compare it to this. That means when we are giving light in a particular surface, the light will bounce back in a particular direction. That depends upon the direction I am giving the light. So, this is what? Reflection. So, we can say the second characteristics of light is what? Reflection. Reflection. So, when you are just taking a mirror and give light, you can see the reflection on the wall. That is, this is one mirror and this is one torch. I am just going to put this light on this mirror and going to focus the light on this. So, here I just on the light, and when I give the light on this mirror, you can see that reflection on the board. I don't know is it clear or not. The thing happens, this is actually doing in your home itself. When we are giving the light on this mirror, I am giving light to this direction and you can see that light here. Actually, that light is not directly coming. That is the reflection from the mirror. Reflection from the mirror. That you are normally doing this activity in your home. Simple thing. When we are giving light on the mirror, it is getting reflected. The reflection is there on the board. Very simple. So, this is about the reflection. So, here you just want to study the property as light have the property of reflection. Oh, the second characteristic is this reflection of light. Reflection of light. And so, how we can define this reflection? It is very simple. When the light incident or fall on a surface, it is getting bounce back. This property is called reflection of light. When the light falls on a surface, when we are falling the light on a surface, what happens? It is getting bounce back. It is getting reflect back, or it is getting moving back. That's all. So this is what the reflection of light. So for you, only two characteristics we just want to study. One is light travels in straight line. And the second one is this, the reflection of light. These are the two characteristics of light. Very simple. So, next we are moving to the next topic. And before that, in your textbook, page number 78, you can see multiple choice questions. You just want to give answers for that. Only two simple questions. Just do it as homework. Now we are moving to the next topic, and that is, again we are going to classify the objects into three. Another type of classification. Objects. First we are going to explain on what basis we are going to classify this. For example, I am going to take three types of materials. One is glass. The second one is butter paper. Butter paper means the paper we are using to make cake and all. That is butter paper. And the next one is a piece of wood or plastic. Wood. So, or paper or something. So these are the three types of substances I am going to take, and using this I am going to show you one difference between these three with regarding the light. For that I am just using these three substances and light, and there you can observe some difference. So first we are going to take glass. So for our activity we need one piece of glass and torch. So when I give light through this glass, do the light falls on the blackboard? Yes, of course. No obstacle is there. When I am giving light, the light is getting directly fall on the blackboard. You can see the light is there. The light is very dim, that's why you get only dim light. So the thing is this, on the glass there is having no obstacles, and so the light directly falls on the blackboard. This is my first case. So for the first activity we can say the light travels very straight, or the light properly transmits through the glass. The next is our butter paper. So the butter paper is this. You can see this. This is one piece of butter paper, not the normal paper. You can also make the butter paper in your home using the normal paper. How? Just take a piece of paper, normal piece of paper, and then add some oil to this, hair oil or cooking oil, coconut oil, something, and just add the oil to this paper, and then you will get the paper like this, butter paper. So this is the second type, butter paper. And again we are repeating the same procedure, that giving light through this, and observe what happens. So I am taking the torch and giving light. Now can you see the light on the blackboard? Yes, you can see, but it is not at all clear like our glass. It is transmitting. You can see here when you look on this, you can see the light is transmitting through this butter paper, but not so clear as glass. Glass is very clear. That means when we are giving light through the glass, you can see the light is very properly transmitting through the glass. It is very straight and no obstacles are there. But for the butter paper, here you can see the light is transmitting, but it is having some obstacles. So little obstacles are there, but still light is partially transmitting through this butter paper. So we can say partially transmitting light. Here fully transmitting. And now our third thing, wood. I am just taking a wooden scale. This is one wooden scale and I am going to give light through this wood. So that is our third activity. Again I am taking the torch, give the light and giving light here. Can you see any type of light through this wood piece? No, it's not able to see light through this wood. So we can say, using the wood, no light is transmitted or transmitting. No light transmit. So you can understood what is the difference between these three substances. Here the light fully transmit, here light partially transmit, and here no light is transmitting through the object. So actually this is the basic of the classification of object, and now I am going to call these three particular names. So the first thing is transparent. Transparent material or object. Transparent object. The second one is translucent object. Translucent object. And the final one is opaque object. So, transparent object, that is the first type of object which allow light to pass through that. So, we can explain this transparent object is like this. Transparent objects are the objects which allow light to pass through the substances. That is called transparent object. The second one is translucent object. These objects are the objects which allow light to partially transmit through this. That is translucent object. And what is opaque objects? Opaque objects are the objects which do not allow light to pass through. No light is getting passed through the substance. Now here this is paper. This paper is actually opaque substance, not allow light to pass through. And so these are the three classification of objects. Transparent object, translucent object and opaque object. So these are the things. Now we are going to define this transparent, translucent and opaque object. First one is transparent. Transparent object. The objects which allow light to pass through them completely are called transparent objects. The object which allow light to pass through them completely, totally the light is transmitting through the object. So which are the examples for this transparent? One is glass, we already said. Glass is the another one. Another one is this water, air. These all are transparent materials. That means I am just taking the torch and giving light. Now here you can see through the air light is transmitting. No obstacles or nothing. So we can say through the air light transmits completely and so it is transparent material. The another example is water. Here within this beaker you can see water. This is water filled inside this, and so I'm just taking this torch and giving light through this. Do water face any obstacles? No, water is transmitting straight through this. So these are some of the examples for this transparent material. And the second one is this translucent material. Translucent. Translucent objects or translucent materials. Here the definition is this: the object that allow only little amount of light to pass through them are called translucent materials. So it is also very simple. The object that allow only little amount of light. This is the point here. Only little amount of light to pass through the material. And that is what translucent material. And which are the examples? One is our butter paper. Which is the another example? Tissue paper. Tissue paper. This tissue paper is very fine, and so we are categorizing it as translucent material. And the another example is colored glass. Colored glass. So I will show you. We are just taking colored glass. Here you can see color is there. No. When I am giving light, what color light is there coming out? You can see the color of light is there coming is blue color. This is blue color and my light is white. And when the light is transmitting through this, what happens? The color is getting blue. So this is actually what? This is also the example of translucent material. We can categorize the colored glass in the category of translucent materials. So the examples for the translucent materials are butter paper, tissue paper and colored glass. So these are about the translucent material, and the final one is this opaque objects or opaque substances or materials. Opaque. Opaque materials. So the objects that do not allow light to pass through them at all are called opaque objects. So the definition is this: the objects that do not allow light to pass through them are called what? Opaque substances. That means no light is getting transmitted through the object. And which are the examples? Examples are these: wood, plastic, metal, paper, etc. These are the examples for opaque materials. So today we discussed about transparent material, translucent material and opaque material. So our classification is over. Now we are moving to the next topic, and that is shadow. Actually you are familiar with this shadow in your day-to-day life. So for example, I am just taking one torch and giving light to the I am taking the torch and giving light to the blackboard, and in front of this I am just putting one piece of paper. What you see on the blackboard? you can see a dark region is there jumping through the blackboard. Why? That is because the presence of this white paper. And so I can call this black thing that you can see in the blackboard. Here when you look there you can see a shadow. For example, I am just taking a board and giving light to the blackboard. Now you can see a dark shade of circular thing is moving through the blackboard. And what is that? I can call that as shadow. So this is what? Shadow. Now we are moving to the definition for shadow. And what is the definition? You know this is shadow. And how we can define this? When someone asks you what is shadow? What is your answer? That we are going to discuss. So shadows are formed when an object blocks or stops the path of light. So very simple. When I am giving light, actually the straight line of path is getting blocked or it is getting stopped. And you can see the black region, the circular region or the rectangular region, black portion is actually the absence of light. And I can call that absence of light is what? Shadow. Always it's like that. And so we can say shadows are formed when an object blocks or stops the path of light. Light is traveling in straight line, and when a particular obstacle comes in between the light and the screen, what happens? You can see a shadow there. You will study these all things in detail in your higher classes. Now just study about the definition, some examples, some properties, that's all. So what about the glass? When I am giving light through the glass, is it possible to see any shadow? No. Through the transparent material, no shadow forms. No shadow forms with transparent material. And also we can say for the translucent material also, generally we are saying that no shadow form. Actually a small shade of shadow is formed, but we can consider theoretically as no shadow is formed with the transparent material and also for translucent material somehow. And then who produced this shadow? The person who produced shadow is nothing but the opaque substances. Opaque substances. It do not allow light to pass through. So the light blocks through the opaque substance and that black region you can see on the screen, and so that is called what? Shadow. Very simple. So we can say some necessary things to be the need to produce shadow. One thing is light. If there is no light, no shadow will be produced. So one of the important things to produce shadow is light. The second thing is this opaque substance. Opaque substance. I already said that this opaque substance only produce shadow. So one, light must be there, opaque substance must be there, and here I just show the black region is there on the blackboard, or I will focus it on the wall. If there is no blackboard, no wall, no ground, where I will focus this shadow? Not possible to focus it somewhere. So screen is also important. At first, blackboard is a screen, wall is a screen, ground is a screen. So for seeing the shadow, the screen is also very important. So the important three things for making shadow is light must be there, opaque substance must be there, and screen must be there. When these things are present, we can see the shadow there. This is all about this, and you just want to study two features about the shadow. Features means its behavior, characteristics itself. So where this shadow is actually produced? Actually, the shadow is produced or formed. Shadow when my source of light is here, I am giving light, then the shadow is formed opposite side of light. That is generally we are saying, and the angle or the direction of the shadow is getting different by giving the direction of light. That will get different. So one of the characteristics is this. Generally we are saying that shadow formed opposite side of light. It always form opposite side of light. That is one feature. And the next one is this. Have you ever observed the shadow under sun? Is it always the same size? Now I am just giving you a small activity. Just look your shadow at 10 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. For all this time, you just want to observe your shadow under sun, not under the bulb light, that you will get same shadow all the time. So you just want to observe the shadow under sun and then understand what is the difference getting to your shadow size with getting time variation. That is one simple activity. Just observe and tell me what's the result you get observed through this time. So finally we are going to conclude our class. Today we discussed about the characteristics of light. Then we classified the objects into transparent, translucent and opaque objects. Then using the opaque object and light we produced shadow. These are the things we discussed in today's class. Very simple things that you actually experiencing all these things in your daily life. So this is actually very related to your life, and so this is all about today's class. We will meet in the next class with the further topics in this chapter.